Everyone, today we're going to take a quick look at my process, how I go from this drawing to this finished piece. So obviously, of course, I start out with the sketchbook. I usually use my sketchbooks as just a way to um, catch ideas. I don't typically go in thinking that I'm going to finish everything I put in here. It really is just a place for me to get ideas out of my head and down on paper. Um, so I decided I really liked this one. And what I did when I decided to um, finish it is I did a cleanup sketch. This is just printer paper. Um, See, I went in. It's very similar. I probably traced over it with a light box to get my initial layout. Just finished up. And then what I did with this, once I had this where I liked it, I go in with a light box. It's this thing. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. This one's not hooked up. I'm not going to turn it on. That'd probably be a nightmare. And then I transferred this drawing to, this is Bristol. Just, and so that's generally the process. Now, I use a variety of things when I'm drawing, and some of my favorites, clearly so set up for this. Obviously, I have some favored, let me get this out of the way. I think having a good eraser on hand is good, a good idea. I like these Staedtler. These have refills. I also have these really tiny ones. This is the Tombow Mononoke. This also has refills. If I don't have to throw away plastic, I'm not going to. A lot. Sorry about that. I do have a variety of pencils. Now, you can't beat the good old number 2 HB for drawing. Definitely one of my favorites. I have recently picked up some of these Red Wing 602s. These are very nice. They are more expensive though, so like just school supply, real cheap. I do also have a variety of mechanical pencils. These three all have colored leads in them. Let me see if I have a piece of paper. You know, I'll just sketch in the back of this one. Like these, the colored leads do tend to break a lot, so we've got like, these are 9, I believe, which is rather chunky. This is 0.7. It's got a red lead in it. Whoop. Oh, that one's out. And then there's just your regular, I believe this is also a 0.7 Pentel. I do like the heavier, if I'm using a mechanical pencil, I like the heavier drafting ones. And that's just a regular graphite lead. I have recently got these, which are 2mm lead holders. I got these sometime this year at one of my local art store. I found I really like these. And I also have that with a red lead. The red lead is a lot softer and tends to dull faster. As much as I like drawing with the color, I do think I like just a regular pencil lead better. Now, as much as I love drawing with, like, say your Red Wing, and that's just a little point protector on it, or my beloved number 2, I find that mechanical pencils are a lot easier to travel with. I don't have to take a sharpener with me. Leads just retract in. As long as you've got, refills in it, it's good. Now, when I do transfer this to the Bristol board or whatever I'm using, sometimes I do use a cardstock. I'll talk about paper in just a second. This is a lot flimsier. I like the Bristol better. I do sometimes ink directly onto the Bristol board without doing a pencil sketch, but a lot of the time I will do a pencil transfer onto my final paper, ink it, let it dry, and then I'll use just, a general eraser and erase the lines. But you got to make sure your ink is dry or you're going to get smudges. Now, as far as inking goes, I do like just your basic Micron, and I would say I use the 1 and the 5 the most, like the 1 for details, the 5 for outer lines. I have started using these high-tech C's in the absolutely minuscule size for like really fine details. Like I think the screen on this window has done that. If I do a fishnet or like a lace decoration, these other sizes come in great. I used to draw really, really small, and this 005, which is really, really tiny, used to be my go-to like detail, like eyes and facial features. Now I do have a collection of other colors. Like I've got warm gray, cool gray, just regular colors, and I believe these are Copics. These work really well too. Basically, my favorites are either the Copics, which cost a lot more, or the Microns. I've tried other varieties of fine liner, and I don't like them as much. Now, when it comes to color, obviously this is a marker, and I have a variety of markers that I use. I am currently switching out to these Ohuhus. I think they work really, really well. I like them. Not sponsored. None of this is sponsored, just what I use. These work really well, and they're not horribly expensive. I do have some Copic sketch markers. I really like these too, but they are really, really expensive, and I'm not making money on art currently, so I can't justify buying, several $1,000s worth of Copic markers when I can spend $350 and get a full set of Ohuhus. Now I have also used Prismacolors. I don't have a ton of these left. These markers are about 20 years old. And honestly, I didn't like these a whole lot in the first place. They're fine. They work. They do the job. I also have these really, really ancient Letraset Trias, and these were cool back in the day because they've got the broad tip and then this. But what I really liked about these was the really fine point, except that those didn't work very well. They were great for like details. I prefer something with a brush tip. I almost exclusively color with a brush tip. But those are my favorites. So out of all of these, the Copic and the Ohuhus are the best. The Trias, I don't think they even make these anymore. And then the Prismacolors will do in a pinch, but they're fine. They've got a good color range. They're workable. And then a lot of the time, if I'm going in with highlights, I'll just use a white colored pencil. I do occasionally do my shading with colored pencil, and that's something I'm working on. But I, always gonna have a white one on hand. Now now for paper, I like a smooth Bristol. This is gonna hold up really well to markers. I usually trim these down to whatever size I need, and it doesn't have to be Canson. I've used other varieties. Just I like a smooth Bristol. They just hold up really well. I do a lot of the time also use just generic cardstock that you can find like in the printer paper section. This works pretty good. You are going to get a lot of bleed if you go in like me and are really aggressive with some of your marker work and shading. It's going to kind of bleed all over the place. Again, like this one is on Bristol. This is on the cardstock. If you flip them over, you can see there's bleed on the back of this, but you see how much it went through on this. So if you're shading, sometimes your colors will just kind of like bleed out into the section if you get too aggressive. And I am not a patient person a lot of the time, so if I use this, I tend to get a lot of color bleeding into areas I don't want it to be. But that is pretty much it. That is a quick rundown of how I do my process. I might try to actually film myself drawing something at some point. We'll see. I don't have a lot of time on my hands. Also, really bad about promoting this. If you want to leave a tip, I do have a Ko-Fi account. The URL will be down in the description box. sure you know how to find that by now. I still think YouTube is not allowing me to put active links in things. 'Cause I'm still not going to give them my ID, so I have to wait it out until they decide I'm a real person. Also, if you hear crashing going around, one of my cats is decided he's got the zoomies, because of course, while I'm doing this. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll see you next time.